Welcome to another episode of Decode with Mithun, Stock Market Analysis.
Good evening, market mavens, and welcome to our deep dive into today's stock market theatrics. Think Bollywood blockbuster meets Dalal Street drama. We saw the Nifty 50 swaying with a 0.57% gain, closing at about 24,121, right?
Absolutely. It's like watching a dance performance. Smooth moves with a few unexpected dips. The market opened cautious around 24,680.9, peaked at nearly 20,900, and then settled comfortably. Quite the roller coaster.
Right. And while Nifty 50 took center stage, Bank Nifty, our loyal sidekick, edged up 0.39% to 51,673.90, though it had its own stumbles along the way.
Yes, indeed. The opening high and low of the day really painted a picture of a market trying to find its rhythm. So tell me, what's got you really buzzing about today's session?
Oh, definitely the tug of war between FIIs and DIIs. You know, foreign institutional investors were offloading stocks worth about Rs 200 crore, while domestic players countered with a net buy of roughly Rs 800 crore. It's like a power play on a tightrope, right?
Uh-huh. It's like watching two heavyweight boxers in the ring. One side selling amidst global jitters, while the local heroes jump in to give the market some backbone. Right?
Exactly. And if we zoom into the sectors, the pharma market shone like a Diwali sparkler, thanks largely to strong quarterly earnings and export optimism. Meanwhile, IT stocks, oh boy, were like that grumpy uncle at a family reunion complaining about US tariff woes.
That's a vivid imagery, I must say. And then you had realty and media taking quite the beating, down over 1% each, which really rattled some nerves.
Right. And jumping into individual stock stories, let's start with Sharda Cropchem. This agrochemical ace soared with a jump of about 5.95%, closing at 1,355.35 after dipping then rallying with strong volumes and just around an 18.58 lakh share volume on paper.
And even though only around 18.2% of that was delivery, it's clear that intraday traders were quite active, right? The bullish engulfing candle it formed above its 20-day SMA was a big deal.
Exactly. Support at 1,050 and resistance at 1,200 give it a neat channel. And with an ATR of 35 and an ADX at 28, the trend is starting to gain some muscle. Short-term calls even lean towards a cautious buy if it holds above 1,100, right?
Yeah, quite the opportunity, though I do wonder if that risk, especially with volatile volumes, might be a bit of a gamble. But hey, rewards do come to the brave.
Fair point, but moving on, Tilaknagar Industries also had a story to tell. This stock, known as the Brandy Baron behind Mansion House, had a modest move, barely a 0.1% uptick closing at 510.05.
Right, and that doji candle formation signaled some hesitation. The volume was rather impressive at 39.25 lakh shares, yet delivery was just above 20.61%, almost as if investors are waiting for a clear breakout.
Exactly. The preferential issue and acquisition talks are creating a cocktail of optimism and uncertainty. With support at 490 and resistance at 530, plus a tightening Bollinger Band, it's almost like the market's holding its breath.
And speaking of stocks barely moving, Vaxtec's Cotfab was as flat as, a chapati, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Opened, reached a high, a low, and then closed right at 1.19, with an ATR of a mere 0.05 and an ADX at 10. It's the definition of a snooze fest with negligible momentum. Best to steer clear short term, in my opinion.
I completely agree. Sometimes the absence of movement speaks volumes, especially when liquidity is low.
Switching gears to Aggie Infra, a real estate player. This one, from Chandigarh, laid a solid foundation today. It closed up 0.75% dollar at 1,075.3, holding strong with a supported 20-day SMA at 1,070.
Yeah, the improved delivery at around 42.72% tells us that investors are really in for the long haul. Support at 1,030 and resistance at 100, right?
Right, and with an ATR of 30 and ADX at 22, there's definitely potential brewing there. Now, into our pharma segment, Alchem Laboratories, kept things steady with a slight uptick of 0.46% and strong domestic as well as export growth.
I noted that too. With the 50-day EMA holding firm at around 5,050 and small bullish formations, the vibes seem stable. Support at 5,000 and resistance at 5,150 really set the stage.
Yes, and then Tipler, the respiratory warrior, took a small breath of relief. Up a hair at 0.13% closing at 1,574. With moderate volume and a delicate balance above its 20-day SMA, the stock remains cautiously optimistic.
It's one of those stocks that's steady but not too wild, almost like a calm amidst the pharma storm.
Right. And then came Dr. Reddy's, our pharma titan from Hyderabad, strutting forward with a 0.96% dollar gain. It opened at 1,287 and gained momentum thanks to new drug approvals in the US.
Yes, and with a solid delivery percentage near 65.5% and a bullish candle testing the 50-day EMA at 1,290, it's a clear call for short-term buys if it holds above 1,300.
Exactly. Following that, Lupin, the Pharma wolf, managed to grow by 1.23%. It broke above its 20-day SMA at 19960 and is sitting pretty with support at 19930, blasting towards resistance at 2000. ATR of 40 and ADX at 25 imply a trend taking shape.
Right, and while I appreciate the bullish narrative, I'd respectfully wonder if that slight bump in Lupin is enough to outweigh global concerns, but the numbers do look convincing.
Fair critique. Market dynamics are always a balancing act. Now, Sun Pharma, the king, glowed modestly up 0.49%. It's riding specialty drug sales, with a tight range around the 50-day EMA at 1,700.
Yes, its support at 1,680 and resistance at 1,730 makes it a watch-and-hold scenario, at least until it clearly breaks out.
And then there's Zydus Life Sciences, showcasing a 1.5% rise, breaking the 20-day SMA at 980, with a neat setup around support at 960 and resistance at 1,010.
Right, with strong biosimilar approvals driving it. A straightforward buy call on a short-term horizon if it stays above 1,000.
Moving over to some of the more modest players, HEC Infra Projects stayed flat at 168.9, with its day playing out like a hesitant note. No news, low volume, and a neutral candle, pretty much a skip in the short term.
Indeed, nothing too compelling there. It's like watching the background music during a big action scene, not grabbing your attention at all.
Now Loris Labs really jumped out with a 2.31% rise, surging to 909.85 thanks to strong Q1 earnings. Breaking through the 20-day SMA at 890 makes it a promising candidate with support at 870 and resistance at 920.
Absolutely, and with an ATR of 25 and ADX at 28 directing a clear trend, this one seems like a great short-term buy, provided you catch it above 910.
Then there's Apar Industries, our livewire conductor in cable manufacturing. It soared a massive 11.81% to 9,681.5, starting from an impressive 8,650 base. A new order win really electrified it, smashing the 20-day SMA at 8,700.
Now hold on a second, I appreciate the excitement, but don't you think that jump might also be overplayed? Sometimes such big moves carry hidden volatility.
Yeah,
But the numbers do point to strong fundamentals here. Support at 9,000 and resistance at 10,000, with an ATR of 300 and ADX at 30.
True, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. Shifting gears to the renewable sector, Adani Green Energy glowed gently up 1.17%, sitting above its 50-day EMA at 1,000, with Q1 profit rising 31% YOY. With support at 980 and resistance at 1,050, it's positioned quite nicely.
Yes, it's showing promise for those looking into renewable avenues. And then, the auto ancillary sector saw Bosch roaring up 4.39%, operating with a bullish candle breaking the 20-day SMA at 38,500. Quite the performer with support at 38,000 and resistance at 41,000.
Indeed. Now, on a softer note, Britannia, the biscuit behemoth, stayed flat, a neutral performance hugging its 50-day EMA at 5,600, with support at 5,550 and resistance at 5,700.
Right, it's like that dependable friend who rarely surprises. Steady, reliable, but not exactly a thrill ride.
Then we come to HDFC Bank, our banking titan, which edged up a modest 0.65% to 2021.6. Supported by strong loan growth and DII buying, it's sitting above its 20-day SMA at 2000, with support at 1980 and resistance at 2050.
Yeah, HDFC really seems to be a safe bet for many investors, especially with that heavy volume and delivery around 69.49%.
And not to forget, Hero Motocorp cruised up 0.79% to 4,325.2 on festive demand buzz, testing that 20-day SMA at 4,300. With support at 4,250 and resistance at 4,400, it's another solid pick.
Right on. And then Torrent Pharma surged 3.99% to 3,668.1, thanks to robust Q1 results, forming a bullish candle well above its 20-day SMA at 3,700 with clear support and resistance zones.
Meanwhile, TVS Motor inched just slightly up, staying near 2,801.8 and holding its own above the 50-day EMA with support at 2,050 and resistance at 2,050. It seems like a hold for now, as investors keep an eye on the EV sales buzz.
Very true. And to cap off the domestic flows, the institutional plays were intriguing. DIIs were particularly active in HDFC Bank and Lupin, while FIIs showed selective interest in Adani Green and Sun Pharma despite their overall selling trend.
Right. And adding a bit of global flavor, we saw the US markets with the Dow Jones up modestly at 4,500, Nasdaq a bit down on tariff worries, Europe mixed, and even Asia's Nikkei dipping. So, as we look forward to tomorrow, Nifty's aiming for 24,900 resistance with support at 24,700, and Bank Nifty should test 52,000 soon.
Absolutely. And though global trade talks may throw in a few plot twists, the domestic momentum appears resilient. I'll be keeping an eye on picks like APAR Industries, Torrent Pharma, and Sharda Cropcom for a dip buy opportunity.
That sums it up pretty well. It's been a day full of twists, intriguing technicals, and a mix of domestic and global cues. Always exciting to see how the market script unfolds.
Indeed, it keeps us on our toes. Thanks for breaking down today's drama with all its highs and lows, right? It's been quite the ride.
Absolutely. Until tomorrow when we decode the next chapter in this blockbuster market saga, keep your portfolios sharp and your strategies sharper.
Cheers to that. Good night and trade smart.
Please note, all content of this video is only for educational purpose only. Consult SAB registered financial advisor before investing. If you like this content, subscribe and hit the bell. No hurry, do it when you have time.